In this video, I want to discuss ways to define terms, and you'll have to do this at various times as you work with data to recognize key terms and to define it, so that you can rest assured that your audience, your readers or your listeners are following you, are on the same page as you are with the terms you use. Now, here are some basic ways you can define terms, and there are more to this list, but this is enough for right now to give you an idea of what you can do with your definitions. And some of these will overlap with each other. So some of them do not share a clear cut. It's distinctively different from another method. But a denotative definition is basically a dictionary definition. It's the culturally accepted shorthand description of the word, and you'll find these in dictionaries. So that's the denotative definition. Slightly different from this is the authoritative definition. Now, a denotative definition is often taken to be authoritative, but really, there's a difference between that $5 dictionary you bought and the $40 one that's a collegiate dictionary, and then the $100 dictionary that's discipline specific, like the American Psychological Dictionary of Psychology, or the philosophical, let's say Harvard Philosophical Dictionary or whatnot. The authoritative definition is usually a definition from a professional voice, or a professional collective, like an organization or an academy, a university, a department. And they are saying, look, we've studied psychology all our lives. We've sort of written the manual on this. This is what this bipolar condition means. A connotative definition. So the authoritative definition is by default going to carry more weight than the like just plain old dictionary definition. Although often you'll find this in a very specific dictionary, so they overlap at times. Connotative definition is the way you use the word in common parlance and just common talk. The word often will carry color and looseness to it that people understand because of tone and facial gestures and just context, conversational context. So as you know, we often use our words very loosely. For example, just in regular talk, we can use the word car to refer to any vehicle that has four wheels and that sort of thing. So even if it's a truck or a van, but connotative is just really loose, but we use it in everyday speech and people understand what we're talking about. Extension, when you provide an extension definition, you are basically just giving a list of things. Now, I'm going to ask you to define the word good in a little bit, but fit this definition. An extension would just be a list, all right? And the list is not even trying to come up with, say, class characteristics or an archetype or a prototype, one archetype or a general class or anything like that. It's just, look, here are, for example, if you were to define freshman and the word freshman for college, collegiate freshman, and all of a sudden you just got this long list of people that are freshmen at a certain college. Well, that's very, it's only good for a certain group of people that would understand that definition, and it's just a list. It doesn't even try to articulate the concept. So that's extension. Ostensive is a little different, all right? Now, extension sometimes is examples. You give examples of something, but ostensive would be more of giving examples of the general type of thing. Described in words. An ostensive definition, but more specifically, an ostensive definition is one that faces such a hard thing to define that it just basically says, look, you just have to experience it. Once you experience it, you'll know it. So think, for example, of love, or of the idea of falling in love. Like, how are you going to define that? Well, a large part of it is, when it happens, you know it. Or how about blue? Okay, how would I define the color blue? Would I say, well, it's a certain wavelength on a spectrum? Well, if you have the right machines, you can probably measure that. But we don't experience blue that way. So what is blue? Well, I might say, look, okay, you know what? This is blue, and I'll do this. I'll go here. I'll go. Let's let me show you what blue is. Um, okay, ready? There, that's blue, and that's blue. So just showing you would be ostensive, or and as a broader concept, it's experiencing it. Now, when you provide a synonymous definition, is you just sort of give it's a terrible definition, really, but you just kind of just define the term you want to define in terms of other synonyms. All right, so it works only if your audience understands the synonyms. But what if they don't understand the synonyms? Then you've got to define those, and you can't define those with the term you were trying to define in the first place, because then you go into circular reasoning. So if you say, well, car is a vehicle, okay, well, does your audience know what a vehicle is? Well, a vehicle is something like a car. Well, no, then now you're just circling, okay? So a synonymous definition is, we tend to do this a lot, but you got to recognize when something truly is a strict synonym. You can't just plug it in, all right? For example, fairness. So how are you going to define fairness? Well, it's the act of being fair. No. You're using the term that is to be defined in the definition. That can never work. Okay, so how do you define fairness? You cannot use the term in the definition. The act of being just. Okay, well, what's justice? See, now you got another problem. So anyway, but we often get by with this in a connotative setting. A philosophical definition seeks to look at the term and to trace it back to its very basic roots, its first principles, all right? This is perhaps one of the hardest things to do, but you have to keep on asking yourself, well, why is it this? Why this? Why this? So fairness, okay, to be fair is to be just. Well, why? Well, or how? Well, it's to be just. What is justice? It's to be correct in how you handle people. Well, what do you mean correct? What do you mean handle? Well, it's how to. So when you're trying to provide a philosophical definition, you're trying to get back to a concept that people can that at that point appears self-evident, or is so basic that people just either have to understand it, or it's not worth trying to define it because maybe they don't understand English or something. Because you have, or it's a first principle. Now, first principles are you just, if it's a first principle, nothing comes before it. So you don't have any logic or evidence before it. It's like, okay, I can't go back any further. This is basically what it is. This is the most basic definition. Now, an essential definition is kind of like a philosophical definition, but it gets a little more. You can provide a little more material here. I shouldn't use the word material, but there's more things to say with an essential definition, because you would be trying to find the essence of what this thing is, in the sense of a sine qua non characteristic. Okay, this is a very important concept, but a sine qua non is literally that which without which no. So if you have a list of characteristics and that something has to have to be X, then you're developing a definition based on the essential definition of the sine qua non. For example, what does a chair have to have in order to be a chair? Does it have to have a back? Well, what about a stool? Does it have to have legs? Well, what about a couch? Does a couch have legs? Or what about just can you picture a big cube of wood with a back on it that looks like a chair but with no legs? Would that not be a chair? Well, so maybe it doesn't have to have legs. Well, it has to have, okay, something you can sit on and something for your back that allows you to be elevated off the floor, the length of your shins or your legs. And okay, now we're getting a little screwy, because that allows sofas in, and a sofa a chair. Well, no, then it's something you just sit on. Well, that's a bean bag. That could be the floor. I see plenty of people sitting on the floor. Is the floor a chair? No. So what is a chair? And you're trying to come up with the list of characteristics that a chair has to have in order to be a chair, and nothing more. Now, a material definition is a very broad attempt, all right? So it's basically a description and a definition and description of a concept, thing, or activity based on how it works, what it's made of, what it's good for, and what its history is. And the list could go on, but like if I were to try to define the word stock, like what you do in a stock market, I could talk about how you buy stock, what it looks like, what it used to look like, pieces of paper, what it looks like now, a digital stock, figures on your screen, how you trade it, how you can lose it, what is it good for, why do you want it in the first place. So you can just, when you're trying to give a material definition of something, you're saying, look, this is a thing that we use a lot in life, and we use it for purposes. It has its own composition. It's made up of something. It has a history of development. It causes things. It can be caused by things. But more than anything, we use it as a tool. And here's how you use it. Here's why we want to use it. Here's how you can make it. And you're really, really just defining and describing it based on what you use it for, what it's made of, its history, and you can produce quite a bit here on this. Material definition is one of the easiest to do, but you really are focusing then on a thing that has a certain important use in the culture, not necessarily a concept.